Okay, good evening, everybody. We're just waiting for Sampada to join us. How are you doing, Colonel Thaparji? Good,
Evening, sir. I'm good, sir.
good. Good. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Sampada will be with us in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Oh, gee, let's see. Sampada, where are you? Okay, we have 200 people. Thank you all for joining. We'll just wait for another couple of minutes. Sampada will join and we'll get the meeting started. Yeah, she's come. Okay. Okay, Sampada, how are you?
The meeting went into some testing connections, so it took some time.
Okay, no problem. So we have 250 people, and Colonel Thapar is with us. So your show.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Colonel Thapar, for being able to make it, and thank you, Krishna, for arranging the whole session and
Put
the
on your
whole.
video for a couple of minutes if you want, just to show the faces. If you want to do that,
Sure, I will.
just for a couple of minutes, just so everybody sees who we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Colonel.
Yeah.
Colonel had your video on 1 minute ago. Anybody else joining that you know? There he is. Hey, Colonel, how are you?
Hey, good afternoon,
Good,
Colonel
sir.
Thapar.
Good afternoon, Sapada.
Good afternoon. ठीक है. अभी तो चेहरा देख लिया, so
Great.
we can go to the meeting now.
Sure. Okay, so welcome to all of you here, and it's awesome that you have taken interest in working on these projects. As you probably read through the document, these are real problems. These are not make-believe, and which is why we have Colonel Thapar also here, who's representing a body, IMEDF, where there are several small-scale industry folks who are currently part of agricultural or craftsmen or similar industries who are going through these issues and challenges. And if these student teams who have registered and who are available here today can work on these problems and bring out some viable solutions, it will be a great match of skills, match of learning, match of problem-based learning and solutions, and of course an opportunity not just for students but also for the people who are affected by these problems. So which is why this is a great time to spend your entire semester. You're just beginning to be in a new semester, which you are, and you have the entire semester and your faculty guides are here with you. So thank you for taking interest and participating in this. I will share my screen so that I can begin to show project-wise, what we need to do over the next few days and few months. Krishna, yeah, thank you. So if you can see my screen right now, and I'll try to increase so that it's clear. And I'll go a little bit up just to see, what we're trying to do here. So before I go into the details of these projects, let's try to understand what we're trying to do and how we will proceed from today all the way until the time you are ready to submit your paper. Okay. You probably have gone through a brief write-up for each project. So each of this is a project. And what we are trying to do is a learning mechanism, PBL, problem-based learning mechanism, using these projects as our base to discover and to find things. So we start with a problem statement. So our project process is going to be split into, let's say, 5 major areas. The first is the problem statement. To understand the problem better, we will be doing some level of preliminary findings and developing an abstract. And I would expect that each one of you, whoever has chosen whichever project, you take just one project. Don't try to jump into 2 or 3 projects at the same time. So each team just take one of those 5 projects. And if you have projects other than those 5, I'll be happy to even take them in as submissions for abstracts on 26th of August. So you have 2 weeks from now where you are going to do a lot of groundwork and spending time hunting various background related to the problem which describe why this is a problem. And that's what we do in the first 2 weeks. We don't jump straight into the solution. It's a very, very clear agenda. We are not starting with an idea or a solution. We are first spending time understanding in great depth and detail what this problem is all about. Where is it coming from? How is it a problem? Okay. Once we have reached a level of understanding of the problem, then we move on to the next stage, which we call explore. And this is where we start thinking critically. So we have collected a lot of data and we start thinking critically on various possibilities to solve this problem or to address this problem. Multiple things can be combined together to address this problem and to see what are the failure modes, what is it that we do so that the problem still stays a problem or does not get solved, or a new problem might happen. So those are what we call as design constraints. Sometimes we call it as functionality constraints. Sometimes we call that as boundary conditions. So boundary conditions or these constraints help us to identify how is a possibility viable with respect to the solution offered for that problem. Okay, so the viability is there only as long as the boundary condition is met. Outside of that, it may not be viable. So we have to understand this very clearly. And to do that, you will need to develop various models based on your data that you have collected in preliminary findings, and then also understand what resources you have. Your solution cannot be where you actually you're sitting outside in space. So based on the resources which are available, the viability of the solutions will matter or be relevant. Then comes the next stage where you start taking your critical thinking into an ideation mode. Okay, you start developing a paper drawing or a model, and you start looking at a lab level model, which could be on paper or as well as a computer designed element. And this is where you have been able to transfer your thoughts and your understanding into something which you can begin to develop. Once you have that ready, then you take it into your lab for trials, and then you do the real-time experimentation, derive a lot of data from that experimentation, and then start piecing an analytical conclusion to what you started from and what you have finally been able to see. If all of this goes in the right order, you are pretty much ready to start writing a paper. Now, we are not asking you to we are not looking at right now, we are not looking at a prototype which will go into becoming a real functional commercial model. We are looking at a prototype which is a lab level model. It's an idea which is good for lab level functioning and functionality. And not everything actually is a piece of physical product. So as we talk about those various 5 projects, we will know how their paper submissions are going to look like. But when you write a paper, there has to be a very clear headway into understanding the problem, looking at various factors which affect the problem, getting all the data together, putting it into an idea, creating your own lab results and the conclusion of your lab results with respect to solving the problem, and then how you arrived at a conclusive evidence that you have done something which begins to solve the problem for the real person sitting behind. And I will take a minute pause here because this is overall what we will be doing from now onwards together all the way until November. If there is anything I may have accidentally missed out, Krishna or Colonel Thapar, would you like to pitch in here?
Sure, and also I encourage the participants also to start texting. There is a text feature to this webinar, so you can just chat. Some of you have said hello, and that's good. So the main thing I wanted to point out is what Sampada said is perfect. Everything is right on. But some of you are probably faculty members, faculty mentors. Okay, keep in mind, faculty mentor means a faculty mentor. Okay, this is not a project that you are trying to do. Okay, it's not your project. The students team they're the ones who do the project. Otherwise, if you do the project and the students only just watching and writing things down, then they're not learning anything. Okay, so you're the mentor. You do not do the project. You only mentor the students to do the project. Otherwise, the whole purpose of problem-based learning is lost. So keep in mind that's a danger that some of you faculty members might think. Oh, I will solve the problem. Okay, I will do the project. I know the answer. Okay, that danger is there. So all of you faculty, just slow down and learn to be mentors or guides, not solvers of the problem. Okay, you have to guide the students to do all these steps that Sampada has talked about. So just like she has cautioned you in various ways, you have to caution the students. The first step is this, second step is this, third step is this. So you have to make them slow down and take these steps. So you have to repeat what Sampada has told you all. Repeat those same things to your students. So you don't go out there and say, okay, I'm going to solve the problem, I know the answer to the problem, right? Got it? I just want to keep emphasizing that, because in the past, some of your faculty have taken charge and dictated things to the students and says, okay, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. That is not your role, all right? Got it? Okay, so that's it, Sampada. Colonelji, up to you. Any comments from you?
Yeah, thank you, Sampada. Thank you for the entire introduction and by the words put in by Krishna. I am actually equally excited as the students to see, because these are the situations which we have seen live, and I am looking forward to the young generation giving us some viable solutions, and I'm actually very excited to go through this entire process. I'll be also a part of the entire process. So I have only this much to add at this stage. Thank you, Sampada.
Thank
Okay,
you
so
so much, Sapata.
there are a few comments and
Yeah.
questions. Let me just address them very quickly.
Mhm.
And some of which you will do actually. This is Sheikh is asking, can you please show the project details, the theme of the project? I think that is coming up. So be patient.
Yeah.
Dheeraj is saying, could we get guidance on how we can do the lab trials? That maybe that's something that we can comment on. So not all projects will have lab trials, right? Some of them will be different type of project. But anyway, we will talk about that, Dheeraj. Chinmay Kumar says, how can they get a more brief about what is meant by an abstract and what needs to be in it? That's something that we can help you with. I think we talk about what does an abstract have to contain, some guidelines for that. Next is this is the first time we are doing these things? Okay, that's right. The first time we are doing it too, by the way, Abdul. First time we are doing these type of projects too. So let's learn together. Okay, so yeah, we'll be patient. You'll be patient. The faculty mentors will be there. It's a learning process for all of us, and since we're a little bit older, we think we know what we're doing, so we'll guide you along the way. Okay, so I don't know where to start. Okay, you say start with whatever instructions have been given to you. All right. Okay, then Sunil says registration link and not this document. Could you please share this document? I think this document, was it not? Okay, was there? Okay, we'll definitely share it with you. And there was, I think there was a link in the email that was first sent that had some of these details. But again, we will definitely make sure you get all these details as soon as possible. Will there be hand-holding review sessions? Arati says, yes, of course. We will have some sessions as we move along and answer your questions. No problem. Okay, Arati, thank you for that question. Bhanamurthy says, on which date the link to submit abstract will be alive? I think that's a logistics question. I think that's something that we'll probably address it, but the deadline has been given. So so that maybe the link will be open maybe somewhere between now and then. Let's see. Jump in, Sampada. Any of these questions you want to jump in while I'm talking, just don't hesitate to butt in. Okay. So far, anything that you want to add to anything that I've said? There are a few more questions. That's right.
Yeah, no, I think you're giving good answers, and some of these will get covered in the subsequent minutes. So please continue. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Shubham says, can we take apart from the 5 topics? No, not really. I think Sampada is committed to 1 or 2 people, but don't open the can of worms here, Sampada. Otherwise, everybody will come up with all kinds of topics on their own. So no, you cannot do any more than the 5 topics that are suggested. Okay, you cannot go beyond that. Devan says, where do we think we have to submit our submissions? Okay, we will tell you where to submit it. We'll be giving you access to LMS called Canvas. So you'll be submitting all the materials to be submitted on Canvas. So we will walk you through that. Maybe even have a demo of that sometime soon. Okay. Let's see. Yes, Vatalkar says, when you will explain each topic, we'll be doing that just a few minutes. Okay. The rest of the webinar is about explaining each topic in a little more detail. Okay, so the faculty guide, we only a professor. Faculty guide should be a faculty member, okay, because that's what the faculty is supposed to be, because this is supposed to be not just a learning for the students, but also for the faculty members to be able to guide the students. So faculty members also take notice. This is a learning experience for you to be a guide. Okay, so you need a faculty guide, but in addition to that, okay, Meet, if you find somebody from industry, somebody with some experience, definitely bring them on board, bring them into the team, get their advice. Okay, but you do need at least 1 faculty guide, and maybe more if you can find somebody else who's interested in helping you out. So don't it can be more than 1 faculty guide from different disciplines, or it could be anybody from industry or a friend, somebody who knows something about it. Bring them in. The more the merrier, no problem. But your team of 3 students are the ones who will actually be responsible for the whole project. Others will help you move along. Okay. How can we make a lab report? That we'll talk about it. Some of the projects, there will be lab work that you will do. Some you may not. In which case, then you will make a lab report, right? Many of you have written lab reports for other courses, so some along those lines. Okay. Ashok Kumar says, yes, we will be explaining something more about the topics. So again, question, no projects other than the 5 mentioned. Okay, just we just want to don't open the door there. Kanti Kumar, can you please, if some of you have questions on that, just send a private email. But the policy is no more than these 5 projects. All right, Kanti Kumar, madam, can you please explain to the students how to write an effective and informative abstract with 2 weeks? Yes, sure, we'll do that. We can help you with that. Please send this document to an email to all the to everybody. Will get the get a link to this document. Okay, it's going to be on the website. Can you give a sample how to present the paper sample model? Again, that's something we'll all learn together. I will use some samples. So we have to make PPT for the preliminary findings. We'll talk a little bit about what needs to be done. Explain what the preliminary explain what are the preliminary findings, because I missed the explanation. Okay, I'm sure we'll get again go through that. What type of submission, abstract, document, PDF, or PPT? We'll get to all those details. Okay, do we collect data by ourselves or provide? No, organizer will not provide any data. No data. Okay, you collect the data. You do the survey. You do the research. You do the work. Okay, the data available. You get the data from what's available. Otherwise, develop your own data. But we will not provide you any data. You're on your own. Okay, how can you make lab reports? Just like to invite other lab reports. Very good evening. You asked to a questionnaire and get the survey done. How can we carry out the survey and log down? I don't know what that one is about.
I'll come to that. I think let me then go to the projects because some of them are.
Yeah, I've joined late. Okay, then if you join late, then you just have to catch up, observe how to start, where to start. So the questions are repeating themselves. So fine, go ahead, Sampada. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna. I'm going to give you an idea as to what is expected in the abstract, and we'll go one by one for each of these 5 announced projects. First one is about honey, and if you have not really seen this document, so this information was actually sent to you at the time of first mail which came from Krishna. The details were part of that. You will have to go back and read it line by line. I won't. And also we will resend this. There is no problem about it. We will resend it to you. So you have to go through this document depending upon which project you choose out of these 5, right? So the details of what the problem is and what is expected to be done is very much written here. So if you notice in this, we are developing a low cost field testing kit to test the quality of the honey, right? And when we talk of preliminary findings, what we expect you to do for preliminary findings and to be able to put that data in the abstract, which you will submit on 26th of August, on or before 26th of August. So see, you have to simply understand what this problem is all about. So what are the kinds of honey available, how they are tested, what are the existing conditions under which the honey is tested, what is it that we are testing, are there various levels of testings, is there a partial testing or a complete testing, and to what extent this testing is reliable, what are the materials which are used, how are the labs equipped which test. So all the data collection, all the findings of honey testing in the local areas of this country, as well as for your reference, what happens outside of this country will become your preliminary finding. Now, depending upon how best you utilize your next 2 weeks, you can go to vast varieties of honeys which are derived from different countries or different flowers or different regions and their temperature conditions. That's totally up to you. But remember, the problem that we are going to solve is for our own country and for a particular region. Now, you don't know which region we are looking at, right? So if you, while you are searching, if you settle down on, let's say, honey testing for, let's say, a state somewhere in, or a region somewhere in Nilgiris, you can happily take that as the problem and just focus on what are the challenges which you will solve for people who are harvesting honey in Nilgiris, and how the quality of that honey will be tested with respect to the local flora and fauna available there, right? So that's a choice you have, okay? But the problem is to be solved for our country. You can decide the region based on how you're able to get the data from various sources. No worries about it. If you're able to look at basic level of testing, which is applicable for all types of honey, which can be used anywhere within the country, awesome. If you are able to reach the level of intermediate or advanced tests which are done for honey, awesome. So it's up to you how much you spread the problem statement. But for the preliminary finding, I'm not asking for a solution. We only want you to understand various parameters and various ways by which honey is tested. What are the costs? Since we are talking about low cost, you have to understand how the cost varies depending upon the test and the and the standardization of the test methods and the amount of purity that we are looking at. So in your mind, always keep two things ready. One, we are looking at cost. It has to be a low cost. And two, we are looking at a field testing kit. We're not looking at a lab which will take 5 crores to set up. So it is something which is easy, handy, available for a person who is collecting the data in a local area to be able to use at a very low cost. So keep in mind the words which are already described are your clues to what extent you can go about finding the preliminary things. And this is what you put in the abstract. Prepare a chart, tabular, graphical, to present all the data that you have collected, right? Don't dump, don't make it, don't squeeze everything that you've collected. Analyze in your own mind, once you have collected your data, how you're going to make it representative of the actual problem that you're looking at. So from all the data, you have to do a lot of analysis within yourself and then present in the abstract only what is absolutely mostly relevant with respect to your understanding of the problem. Abstract is only understanding of the problem. That's what you do, right? So this is what we have explained here. Similarly, of course, you will continue doing other things like prototype and paper submission for November. I'm not taking that up today in today's meeting. I'm only taking you to the first step that you have to finish in this month. We will have maybe one more meeting once we progress beyond the abstract, and we will like there were some questions where you were asking the kind of mentoring or the help. We will be holding more meetings over the period from between now and November, where we will try to cover next level of questions and mentoring, whichever we can handle based on the experts that we can bring. And as Krishna said, you're more than welcome to line up your own experts who can help you develop this solution. So the final solution is final submission is a paper that you submit, but we'll talk about that later. Coming to the next project, it's about distillation units for essential oils. Again, similarly, just go and read everything in detail. Here we are talking about efficiency. Keep in your mind, we're talking about efficiency of the essential oil extraction. This is what you need to keep in your mind and keep repeating in your head. You're talking about improving the efficiency of the essential oil extraction, and that's the problem statement. Now, whatever gets done to reach that efficiency is your preliminary finding. So go ahead and try to understand all kinds of processes and methods which are used to extract oil and how the efficiency of oil extraction varies based on the kind of fuel used or the heat treatment which is given or the material that is used, etc. So on and so forth. Try to understand how people have already done things to improve the efficiency. What have been the failed and the successful experiments to improve the efficiency of oil extraction. So it can go up to 1.2%, but what we are asking you to do is looking at something up reaching up to 0.6% of efficiency. So your problem statement is improving the efficiency of essential oil extraction. The abstract that you are going to submit is all about the preliminary finding of what all exists today and what are the challenges people face in whatever exists today. I hope that is clear. So your analysis of the data is what you will submit in 2 weeks from now. Then the third is developing toys for autistic kids. Now, toy industry is very much there. Toys are very much there. But because of the commercial aspects, mostly we look at what will sell in large numbers. And autistic kids are a type of population where there is very little to help them to make them comfortable, not only to play with the toy but also to bring in a level of educational depth and breadth and depth while using that toy. And we all understand that while a normal individual or a child can happily go and read books and do things which we call as normal and gain their knowledge, for an autistic kid, there has to be aided approach which can help them come up to par with what is expected with respect to their knowledge and skills. And toys is the best way to cater to that kind of a need. So what a good toy can do to an autistic child can be remarkable and marvelous, and that is what we are trying to address through this problem. So in this, when we talk of preliminary finding, uh, we are only looking at kids. So try to focus all your search for a child which is less than 16 years. That does not mean that whatever you come up with has to cater to the big wide range. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe you will only focus on a toddler level age group, or you can focus on 5 to 10 years age group, or you can focus on 10 to 12 or 12 to 16, etc. Does not matter, but you do specify that what is the age band or age group you have targeted or focused upon. In your preliminary finding, you can go ahead, search as much as you want, make a wide coverage from 0th year to the 16th year of the child. It's okay, but as you progress forward, you should have settled down on a narrower age band where you are going to focus mostly on the development of the toy as you go beyond the stage of abstract to the level of submitting a paper, right? Don't try to make a toy which caters to equally to a 2-year-old or a 16-year-old, because in particularly in case of autism it won't work. Okay, now in preliminary finding, you have to go with several studies. Try to see out of these studies which have data coming from outside the country, and if you can also get a lot of data from within the country, the population within the country, because here the cultural aspect will matter a lot. Okay, so in your own intelligent approach, you should definitely look at what's out there beyond the seas, but also try to see what's in here within our own country with respect to this case. So when you submit an abstract, see what I'm asking you to do. You should be able to prepare a chart, which is just a chart. It's a chart where you just put down everything that you have researched, but don't dump everything, as I said. Analyze and bring what's relevant finally with respect to what you have chosen to do. And you also submit a survey form or a questionnaire which you would actually send out to real people out there. Now, these are real people, meaning medical experts and also users, population who is affected, parents of autistic kids, teachers of autistic kids, caretakers of autistic kids. So this is what you have to do. So what will you write in that questionnaire? What is the kind of question you're going to ask them is what your intelligence is all about. Okay, I mean, I'm not looking at, that you're asking their names and what their age is, etc. How do you understand what their challenges are? Because that is what will give you the base to start thinking about what kind of a toy to be developed. Okay, so to be able to understand their needs, you have to ask certain prodding questions. What are those questions going to be like? Even I don't know right now. It's only when you have done enough search you will be able to start thinking in that line, and you will come up with a questionnaire which will be different when you are asking a doctor, different when you are asking a parent, different when you are asking a caretaker. Okay, so the questionnaire is what you need to develop, and that's going to be your preliminary submission. So I hope there was one question pertaining to this must have been answered. The fourth project is about management of perishable fruits and vegetables and the waste that gets generated out of it. Again, just I won't repeat much here because I've already been saying the same thing over and over again. Go ahead, collect a lot of background data of what exists today, how does it exist today, what are the various methods, what has already been done to solve this problem, and what are the pending challenges. What are the challenges which are still faced, and how does it vary from region to region, temperate conditions and the transportation conditions from where the things are produced all the way till it reaches the user, the end user. Okay, so what are those challenges and how do we best preserve? And then once you have understood the problem, you just need to again here create a questionnaire or a survey form. And with the same approach, just like I shared a while ago, this form will be different when you're asking experts who are dealing with transportation or packaging and transportation of the fresh goods. And it is going to be different for the end users, the consumers like me and you, who actually receive these fresh produce. So that once you have done that, so don't submit the questionnaire to me. You do that as part of the process. And once you have received responses from talking to the local people about this, bring the analysis of this data to explain what are the root causes, what are the challenges, and how the challenge varies from place to place. Again, limit yourself to a certain region. Don't try to solve the problem for the entire country. The problem will exist differently for Kashmir to, all the way to Kanyakumari. So just look at a regional area, settle down on that after you have done your full research and bring that in your abstract submission. The last is, so before I go for the last, should I take a pause and ask Colonel Thapar if I've missed out on anything? Colonel Thapar? No? Okay. So shall I continue with the last project also at the same time? So this last project is about blockchain mapping of products. Now here, what we are looking at is not one particular industry. Okay, this is more of a system of database management that we're talking about, tracking and database management. And it goes all the way from the procurement of the raw materials or the sources of the products. They could be fresh product like produced from farms. They could be honey, for instance. They could be clothes, they could be oils. So there are, several hundred such products which are being developed in all over the country in various clusters. And as part of a unified agency, uh, there needs to be a very well structured tracking and database management of everything, right? A fully automated system that takes care of everything in the most efficient manner, which is why blockchain mapping is a proposed solution to do that with least error that can be seen, because in such things there's a huge margin of error due to manual mistakes, human errors, which is why a blockchain mapping provides literally a 0 degree of error kind of a solution when it comes to tracing the product and the movement of the product all the way from the beginning to the end. So the preliminary finding is to understand. Okay, now again, just pick up any one particular industry. You can pick up cloth, you can pick up oil, you can pick up honey, or any one of those. Just pick up any one of those, or it could be how do you use how do you recycle bamboo leaves to make bamboo to make certain furniture, or you could pick, let's say, how do you recycle banana leaves to make disposable eco-friendly plates, disposable dishes. There are several ways you can pick up any one of those, whichever is closer to you, whichever you are comfortable with, doesn't matter. Pick up one and then try to understand the dependencies all the way from the procurement to the development to the delivery, and also seeking the market supply and demand kind of information, right? So this is what you do with respect to your preliminary finding. And once you have collected all the data, you just bring a mapping of these various interdependencies which you see. So your abstract is only going to be a mapping, you know, a map which shows how the things move, they get tagged, they get located, there is a barcode. How does it really get identified that this is the product which started from one end and actually reached the end which it was supposed to go? So just develop a mapping of this. This is what you do for abstract. So these are various 5 projects which you have to do. As I said, I'm only discussing the stage up to abstract submission, which is due on 26th of August. We will create the Canvas portal for this, where you will be submitting your abstracts for us to see by 26th. We are not going to review those abstracts yet. We are going to invite you to present these during the student summit, which happens on 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then after your presentations of the abstract there, which will be assessed by the jury, hearing you live, and you have to do that within 5 minutes, which will be given to each team. You will know what you have done, good or bad. And after the summit, for these 5 projects, we will try to create mentoring sessions based on what is the kind of challenges that we see you people are facing with respect to whether you have understood it, the problem correctly, whether you are ready to move with the stage of exploration and ideation, or whether you need to give it more thought and understand the problem even better, right? So we'll do that after the summit, student summit. So, and we will try to bring in experts, but we cannot promise that the experts will be always available at all times. We will see if we have collected a good number of queries. We will try to mobilize an expert session according to that. They will be different for different projects, of course. So you will come in your respective sessions. And I'll take a pause here and I'll hand it to Krishna and Colonel Thapar after that to cover something that I may have missed, and also to see questions that we have here.
Okay, Colonel Ji, aye. Thapar, you want to add something? There's still a little.
Go ahead, sir. You go ahead, sir. I am generally okay with whatever Sampada has said. So
Okay.
these are the some of the things which I'm quite sure it's a little, there is a challenge in this, and these are live situations. So I'm quite certain the students will be able to attempt that and form their groups and participate in good numbers. And whatever assistant or the experts are to be made available, we will have the experts from. I will try and get the maximum experts on these issues wherever the students find some clarifications are required, or any clarifications required now. Some of them I can also attempt to give.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Sampada, we might have to explain a little bit more based on the questions about what exactly is in the abstract. Can you go over that again? What is in the application? You've covered it already a couple of times, but I think it might help to do it once more.
Yeah,
okay?
sure. So I'll go back to the first one, which is about honey.
It's different for each
So,
one, right?
Yeah.
What
So
is
for
common?
honey,
What is common between all of them? Abstract wise. What are the
okay.
common features?
So the commonality is that in the abstract, you are only surrendering the research that you have done with respect to understanding of the problem. So the abstract is my way to see whether you have been able to understand the problem correctly, because that's the first stage. If you have not understood the problem well, if you have not been able to pick up the right kind of data and analyzed it so that it pertains to the actual situation that you are dealing with, then anything that you do after that will be a misled action. So to
Good
make
point.
sure that you start on the right action.
Yeah, let me emphasize that again to everybody because many questions came on about the abstract. Abstract is for you to show us that you understood the problem, not solve the problem. Okay, you understood the problem, and that understanding includes information from various places using your own thinking. You can include data. But when you mean by chart doesn't mean you put up a big poster or something. Chart just means you have a table of information or a graph of information that you obtained from different sources, and you have looked at it, you analyzed it, you thought about it, and that has helped you think about the problem a little bit deeper. That's what it is. So you have analyzed the problem. That's what the first the abstract is about. It's not solve the problem. Remember, don't just jump to a solution. There's no, you have to understand the problem first before you start thinking of the solution. Okay, so understanding the problem is a very, very important part of problem solving. So that's what the abstract is all about. All right. Go ahead, Sampada.
Yeah, Sampada, can I add a little bit into this?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, sir, as Sampada also said, and you have also explained, just go through the prelim findings, collect the data based on geographical regions, sources, types, methods, honey extraction. In fact, honey is extracted from various varieties of bees are there. So that will give you that table or chart which we are preparing. So because if you link all this, I think then you will be able, that is what we mean by a chart or a tabular form as to geographical regions and the types of bees are there. So I'm giving you a little hint where you can possibly get into these kind of details.
Yep.
Because for every variety, every geographical region, there may be a little different things which is available in this honey that is extracted.
But so it is research. You have
and
to
then
research.
look at the and then because we're talking of low cost testing of honey purity, so you have to also understand what is it that we test to understand that the honey is pure, and whether there is one basic test or whether there are several levels of test. How do we test whether it is done in a in a lab environment, or can it be done on field? These are various things which should run in your head as you're collecting the data. And then how is the cost involved, depending upon the kind of testing you have chosen. For advanced test, you may have certain cost which may run up to 25 or 50,000. So if you notice here in first prototype we have written, the sample working kit can actually test multiple samples of one type of honey at a rate of 20 at a cost of 25 to 50K, while the samples which have been tested, you're running 100 samples in 10 hours. What we have not written is what is the size of the sample, and what if we are trying to test only 50 samples in 10 hours, right? So these are the variabilities, and you should be able to just bring the understanding of these variabilities in your abstract submission by form of a table or a graph, or so this is what you are analyzing. If you have understood the problem well, you would have taken the next stage correctly.
Yeah, and just in case while you're doing the research on understanding the problem, you actually find out that there is somebody who has found a solution, don't just say, okay, I found my solution. No, take that as an example and analyze the solution, and in terms of and deeper understanding, gives you a deeper understanding of the problem. Use the solution to kind of get a deeper understanding of the problem. It's not, you don't just copy the solution and say, I have the solution because so and so gave it. That is not your solution. Okay, so use your brains to analyze the problem better. Research means looking around and saying, maybe somebody else has found some idea of what the solution might be. That has to be part of your abstract, but it is not your solution. Okay.
Yeah. So do go through this document, because this document will actually help you understand what you need to do. We have been able to put in enough information to give you an aid into how to go about it. If you still have problems, we'll see how much we can handle. But I believe today, if you have understood what you need to do in the next 2 weeks, then we are all good to go. And after that, of course, we will understand whether you're on the right track or whether you need a little bit of a nudge here and there, to with respect to your understanding or analysis of what you have researched.
So we will have to show them how to use Canvas, right, at some point.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah. I kind of assumed that everybody's familiar with Canvas.
No. How can you assume that? Okay, so
Yeah, sorry about that.
we'll send them a link to this particular document that we can do very easily, and we'll post it on Canvas. Okay, and we will send you an invitation to Canvas. Okay, which is a do you want to go through that for 5 minutes, or do we have something else you want to do?
I thought I'll just quickly also show
Yeah, show them what you want to show,
this
because Canvas can be a different session. We can just
yeah.
but that comes later on. So before they submit the thing, so we can have a before when they're ready to submit, we can. But it will take time for them to get familiar to get Canvas. That's the other thing. So today is the
Okay.
12th, right? And we are expecting them to turn in this thing in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
So so there'll be there will have to be a session on how to submit on Canvas at some point.
We can do that over the next 1 week. I mean, not this week, but maybe
Following
Monday.
Okay. So Sridhar, or I may not be available, but let's see. We'll see how to do that. But it's an important part
Okay.
of. Anyway, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Let's let them work on it. Yeah.
So, so I'm briefly.
Or Sampada, the other thing could be that Google Form is very easy. They can just submit a document on Google Form. Canvas a little more.
Yeah, it can be uploaded. It's just a small chart or a PPT.
Yeah, Canvas a little more learning involved. So they have to just create a Google site, and they can just upload the document. I think that might be better. Okay.
Okay, so all of you who are here will give you the instructions where and how to submit your abstracts.
Correct.
Just keep looking for the email from Krishna, and we'll try to make it easy for you to submit your abstracts.
This might be easy.
Will not give you added work.
Canvas another additional headache. So
We'll make it easy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm quickly just taking this opportunity to show you the student summit, which is coming up on 3rd, 4th, and 5th September. It's a very interesting activity which students organize among themselves and conduct. It's a 3-day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. kind of an event. We'll be happy to share this also along with the details of the project with you in the email as an attachment. This is just a draft agenda. You can have a look at what those activities are. And if you notice here on day 2, the project abstract presentations is when you will be invited to present your abstract. So this is where you will be, so besides submitting to us prior, you will also be invited to speak, present your abstract on 4th September at 4 p.m. in front of an audience, which will be, not only students and faculty from other institutions, but experts corresponding to the project that you have picked up. And this will be the time when we will be able to see how well you have progressed between now and over the next 2 weeks. And whatever action needs to be taken as a result of this presentation will be shared with you after the summit is over. And so this is where you will be positioned. If you can see yourself, this is where you will be brought upon to speak and present. And this details of the summit I will be happy to share with you, because I'll be happy if you can participate in this summit by way of being an audience, as well as by way of maybe taking care of some of these activities. We have a theater play, we have a debate, we have other things. So yeah, I don't want to take and distract your attention. I'm just going to share all these details by email. Please go through the email document attachments. That's very important, because even all the details about these projects is carefully worded here. You just have to read through it. And yeah, so I think there was one more question on the fact that, if our project is not part of these 5, what do we do? So if you have an abstract, and if we have space in the project abstract submission on 4th of September, you will definitely have a place to speak on your project. But then as far as finding an expert or guiding you through that is concerned, we are not equipped to do that currently, because we only have experts for these 5 projects. So while we will help you with the overall general understanding of what needs to be done with respect to a problem and how to approach, we will not be able to give you a careful mentoring for the projects which are other than these 5.
Yeah, stay with these 5 projects, okay? Don't try to wander away too much. You don't don't create your own project. Okay. Anything else? Any word
questions?
limit, abstract, and stuff like that? Yeah. I think we're pretty much it, right? That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let's read through the questions again. We have a few minutes to keep going with the questions. Okay. Any word limit on the abstract? I
Yeah,
guess.
so there is basically no word limit, rather there is a presentation limit. So you have a 5-minute of presentation given to you. If you make a PPT of your abstract, then try to finish it within 2 to 3 slides. This is not a passage abstract like you do in a paper submission. So this is not a paragraph, which is why there is no word limit restricting you. This is more of your understanding of the problem. So limit it to 2 to 3 slides and a 5-minute of presentation.
Yeah, somebody's asking, do we have a previous year's chart? No, this is the first time we're doing this project. There is nothing from previous year. Okay. Is it a PPT or a Word document? I think Word document, right? Abstracts are mostly Word documents. But when you make the
Yeah,
presentation, the
could
summit, you have to
be,
be PPT.
yeah, it could be your presentation could be preferably in PPT format. The idea here is to establish understanding. So if you need to use a graph, use a graph. A passage is
But abstract,
not so indicative.
abstract submission, would it be Word document or PPT? Abstract.
No, this is a PPT. It's a PPT
Abstract.
which has
Abstract itself.
data and the analysis of the data. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. Okay. So let's see. So PPT. Okay, so some word limit
So
and
I've written
abstract.
here, prepare a chart. So this is what you have to submit.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do more than one project? I would recommend just stay with one
No.
project. There's enough work to be done for one project, so don't just get distracted. Focus on one project. Spend the time to do a good job of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What else are we seeing here? Let's see. Everything is clear. Okay. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Okay. Next one. Do only approved abstracts go to the next level?
Yeah, so by approved, it means that you have understood the problem correctly and you are ready to move forward, right? So we are not screening or stopping you from continuing the study or continuing to develop. So this is not a filter stage. You can or you may not be able to finish your background preliminary finding by 26th of August, and that's okay. As long as you're able to continue and continue till 15th of November when you finally submit. So the actual screening will happen after 15th November.
So no elimination before that.
No elimination before that.
Okay. Let's see. Network issue. We need to give a solution. No solution for the abstract. Okay. But November 15th, you have to have a solution, but not by the time you submit the abstract. Abstract is where you think a lot, analyze a lot, discuss a lot, brainstorm a lot, understand a lot, research a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into understanding the problem. So the abstract, that's what you have to think about. Okay. After you get the abstract straightened out, understand the problem, then you can think of the solution. Don't jump to a solution before you understand the problem. Gather information first, okay? Gather research. Don't give a solution without knowing what the problem is about. Okay. my name is filled out wrong. Is there anything you can do about it? Sure, you can just send an email to one of
Yeah.
us. We'll fix it.
We'll fix it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Abstract is it's kind of like the proposal based on your research, and the final submission is the solution. Correct. So what's the prize? Yeah, low money. We'll give you cash prizes to those who to top performers, and others who complete. They're not some of the top performers. Will get certificates. Okay, there'll be cash. We'll get money.
Yeah, and so this is what we have given. The cash prizes will be awarded to the best paper submissions during the annual student forum, which happens in January 2022. And so the best paper which will submitted will be, so the papers which will be submitted on 15th of November will be critically reviewed and examined. And then we will identify who the winners of the cash prizes are going to be. For definitely for one particular project, there could be multiple good papers. And as long as the solution is viable, it will be definitely considered. These papers have to be published as your UG research paper, and all others which do not make it to the best category will still be given certificates.
Okay, run out of time, so that's good. With this information will be available to you by tomorrow. Okay. All right, so that's it. And keep sending emails, questions, whatever you want. Okay, so we'll be here to help. All right, then.
Yeah,
Take care.
I'll be happy to reply. Yeah.
Take care, Jai Ho, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Colonel Thapa.
We almost had 400 people here today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we had 400 people, by the way, Colonel. 400 people here today.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
We have what, 250 teams, so at least 1 or 2 people from each team showed up today. That's good.
Yeah.
Good, great.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
good job, everybody. Have fun. This is exciting.